You're going on a visit. No, I'm wrong. That's you're running away.
How did you guess?
Professor Marvel never guesses. He knows. Now, why are you running away?
Ready? All right, today I'm going to be showing you guys some of my plants that I have and my tips for keeping them healthy and happy. So let's just jump right into it and take you guys on a tour of my little neighborhood of plants. So this one's probably my youngest plant. I just got a little propagation of this pothos from one of my mom's friends right when we moved in, so probably about six months ago. As you can see, he's not fully potted because this pot does not have a hole in the bottom, and I will get to that later into the video. But he's just still in his little plastic pot, and I need to repot him and pretty much all of my other plants, but I'm planning to do that this spring. Then you move over here. This one is one of my all-time favorites. So this is a Pillia, Peperomia. There's lots of different names, but I love it because it's called the friendship plant. And the reason it's called the friendship plant is because it grows little pups all the time. So these little guys right here, and you can repot them and give them to friends, which I'm planning to do with this little smaller one. I'm planning to give to a friend. But this plant is so cute. It looks like little pepperonis, and it just makes me happy to look at. So cute. Moving on to over here, we've got another pothos. This one's just the lime green variegation. It's so cute, and I love that it hangs over the side over here. It does need to be watered. It's looking a little sad, but we'll take care of him. He'll be okay. All right, moving on. Now, this is my oldest plant. I've had him for probably, I would say like 4 years, and it's the longest I've been able to keep a plant alive, so that's a super plus. He's my MVP, and he is also another pothos. You will see that I love pothos because they are pretty much the cockroach of plants. They're really hard to kill. They're great low light plants. As you can see, I have them up high in spots that they're not getting any type of light from above. But then we have another one over here. This one I got just a few months ago as well, probably right before I got that other pothos that's out in the living room. But he's doing well, and I love how dark green his leaves are. So cute. We obviously need to do some laundry, but I've got some aloe over here. So I've got a big one and a little baby one right here, and they're just so cute. They make me happy. I love their little pokies. But I don't have a ton of plants. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. This little guy. Oh, now I feel bad. I'm sorry. Yeah, he's just a little cactus. I have only watered this one time in the last maybe like 8 months. So yeah, he's cute, he's pokey. And he just stays right up here. A fun little tidbit about this guy, he has fallen maybe like twice, 3 times in the middle of the night. So like it's dead silent, and then out of nowhere you just hear this crash, and there's dirt everywhere, and we don't know how it fell because I put him far back enough that he can't tip over because he is pretty like top heavy. But I swear, like, it scared us so bad the first time, and I swear we have a ghost. I know it. And he does not like this plant right here or something. I don't know. But this is where he's staying, just so you know, if we have a ghost. So, yeah. All right, now I'm gonna gather all of our plants, and I'm gonna take them out to the living room and tell you how I take care of them, how much I water them, how I water them, all that good stuff. So let's do it. I just want to take a second to acknowledge our beautiful couch. It doesn't have its cover on it for the first time ever, really. It always has a cover on it because I'm so worried that we're gonna spill something on it. I don't know why I decided on a white couch. I really don't. But here we are, we're enjoying it for 20 minutes and that's about it. I'll link it below if you guys are interested in the couch. It's from World Market. It's beautiful, it's very comfy. We love it. So before we jump into the plant tips, I just wanna let you guys know I did work at a greenhouse a few years ago. So I learned some tips. I kinda know how to take care of plants now. I'm not just spewing nonsense all the time. I kinda know what I'm talking about, barely. Watch people just roast me in the comments like, you don't know what you're doing. I see it coming. Okay, anyway, you will notice all of my plants, which I don't have a ton, but we do have a small space and I've got a big list of plants that I wanna get in the future. But all of my plants have their plastic pots that they came in still. And that's because this helps the plant acclimate to their new environment, so it doesn't put them in quite as much of a shock when you bring them home. Because obviously their new environment's completely different than where you got it from. It's coming from a greenhouse, so it's humid, it's got plenty of light, it's around other plants that make it happy. So I try to do the least amount of traumatic experience possible for the plant. So I keep them in their plastic pots for about 6 to 12 months at least. You can do less than that. I just recommend not repotting immediately when you get home. Try to keep them in their plastic pots for a couple months, but you do you. So I'll start off with the Pothos and how I take care of them and how I water them. They're really easy plants, honestly. I like to let them tell me when to water them. So I'll always do a soil check. I never water a plant if it has even just a little bit of moisture in the soil. I kind of like to let them dry out completely. This is really good because it makes sure that there's no excess of water. It kind of helps you keep track if there's root rot too, because if there's moisture, there's root rot. And root rot, immediate death. Just saying. So I kind of like to let them show me that they're ready for watering because their leaves will kind of sag and get, sad, kind of like this one. So you can tell, like this one I watered just a couple days ago. And see, he's all happy and poofy. And he's like, I'm happy. And he's like, hey. And then this one's kind of like, yeah, I could use some water. He's feeling a little thirsty. And see, there's a definite difference in their soil as well. So this soil is all dark and it's wet feeling. And this soil is all lighter and it's definitely dry. So he will be getting a bath right after this video. Moving on to my Peperomia plant. This guy, I pretty much do the same thing. I let his soil dry out completely and then I completely soak him with water. I do this for all of my plants. I water them all the exact same way. It's just the only difference is how often I'm watering them. So what I like to do is I'll take a plant and I'll put it in the shower, I'll put it in the bathtub, I'll put it in the sink, and I just let the water run. And I let the water run all the way to the top so that way there's a pool of water, and then I let it sit and soak down completely and drain out the bottom. And then I'll do this a couple more times just to make sure that the whole plant is getting watered all throughout the roots. The key to this is making sure that it's getting proper drainage. That is a big reason why I keep the plant in the plastic pot for a while, because a lot of people will immediately pot their plants in a mug or a planter that doesn't have a drainage hole, which is probably one of the worst things that you could do. Yeah, it's cute, it's stylish, but your plant needs to be able to drain. And that's why I always recommend a terracotta planter, because they always have drainage holes. I wouldn't be afraid of overwatering as long as you're making sure that it's draining properly. Plants are not something that you're like, okay, every Wednesday we water the plants. It's more of let them know, or let them tell you when they're ready for more water. So check their soil, see if their, leaves are getting saggy, all that good stuff. So that's why I like these big leafy plants, because they're really easy and they kind of tell you when they're ready for watering. Okay, moving on to more succulents and cactus stuff. So like I said, I have only watered this guy once in the last 8 months, and he's looking pretty good. He's pokey, he's great, he's happy, and as you can see, he's still in his plastic pot. I am planning to repot completely all of my plants this spring, and when I do that, I'm going to use half cactus soil and then half regular soil. This is really great for all varieties of plants because it's just a good mixture. It helps it keep moisture and it helps it get rid of an excess of moisture, because the cactus mix has like rocks and stuff in it, so it helps it kind of drain properly. But with that guy, I never really water him. It's kind of just whenever I think about it, honestly. I don't really have a ton of tips with him. Now with my aloe plant, this guy is definitely ready for a bigger pot, which will be this one. And he is pretty easy as well. He doesn't get direct sunlight. Aloe does not love super direct sunlight. That will crisp it. You can tell he's got some dried leaves, which you can definitely take those off. Plants love when you trim off their dried leaves, dried little anything. But yeah, so with this one, same thing. I water this one maybe once a month, but when I do, I take him to the sink and I fully saturate the dirt. Make sure he's completely watered and make sure he's draining. That is the #1 key. Water your plants, but make sure they're draining. Seriously. It's a game changer. They'll be so much happier. And then same thing with this little guy. So I fill up the water all the way up to the top, let it sit and soak down. Do it again, all the way down. And the reason I like to water my plants in a sink, or specifically like a shower, is because I'll use the shower head and I'll make sure I get all of the leaves wet and happy, because that also dusts them and it makes their leaves stronger. So if you kind of play with your plants, kind of like this, it helps them grow stronger so they're not as like weak. So if you have pets that like to rub up against them, this will help them be stronger because they're used to movement and stuff. That's something that I learned at the greenhouse. I'll insert a clip of me watering a plant just so you can kind of see what that whole process is. I usually water this one in the sink because he lives up here. So I'll stick him in his sink. I make sure there's no leaves underneath him, and then I just gently put all of his leaves in the sink. And then I don't do cold water and I don't do hot water. I do about lukewarm water, and then I just slightly turn on the water, and then I make it the shower, giving him a little scrub-a-dub-dub. I make sure all of his leaves are getting watered, and when I'm doing this, I like to take off any dead leaves, check his insides for any dead leaves, and then I fully saturate his soil. And as you can tell, he definitely needs some new soil, because look how low his soil is. He's eaten quite a bit of that soil. Why is this so warm? This water needs to chill out. See how I'm letting the water pool? So I just let it go, let it go, let it go. And then do you hear that? He's draining and the water's done. But this just helps make sure that the water is making it all the way down through to the roots, which is where he actually drinks up the water. And then as for fertilizing, I don't fertilize often. I fertilize maybe once a year, which is probably not good. Maybe twice a year. But when I do, I use this fertilizer from this woman. Her name on Instagram is, I think it's like Happy Plant Lady or something. I'll insert her information right here. But I use that, and you just put it in some water, and then you just water them. And I just do the exact same way that I would water normally. So I just put it in a watering can, fully saturate the water or the plant, and you're good. Now for the most important tip of all. Like, if you're not gonna do any of these other tips, at least do this one, because this one is the most important. You gotta talk to them. You gotta be their best friend. You gotta be their little mama. I am telling you, they seriously do so much better when you talk to them. And I like to touch their leaves and like give them little pats. And I talk to them when I water them. So I'm like, oh my gosh, you're doing such a good job. I'm so proud of you. Like, oh, look at this new little baby leaf right here. It's so beautiful. And I'll kind of like massage their leaves. And they're just so fun to talk to. But 100% that is the most important tip, because vibes are real and they communicate. So, yeah. This is how I meditate every morning. No, I don't. That's everything for this video. Let me know if you guys use any of these tips and if they help you, or if you guys have any suggestions. I do have a plant bucket list too. I'll put that below. I'll let you guys know all of the plants that I'm hoping to get soon. But yeah, I guess I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.